Welcome to Brilliantly British. My name is Lawrence and today I'm going to show you how to make a Newcastle tart. So as I show you how, please sit back, relax with a cup of tea in hand, putting those feet of yours up to, and enjoy this episode. And don't forget to subscribe. Previously on the channel, we shared our recipe for a delicious and distinct Northern English citrus tart, named after the city, bearing the phoenix as its city mascot. In this episode, we'll be sharing a recipe for another English citrus tart, which instead of lemons will be flavored with oranges for another alternatively delectable tart. Step by step, we'll walk you through the tart's preparation, which we've kept simple before we crown everything off as per usual with a session of tasting at the end. And so now, with your interest peaking and the introductions made, please allow me to introduce the ingredients to you. For today's Brilliantly British Newcastle tart, you will need some oranges, some caster sugar, some muscavado sugar, some icing sugar optionally, some eggs, some plain white flour, some vanilla paste, and some butter, followed by a little pinch or two of salt to avoid the occurrence of bland food. And that, my friends, is all, yes, all that you will need for today's Brilliantly British Newcastle tart. But before you get started, before you do anything at all, please switch on your kettle, brew yourselves a nice cup of hot tea so that you can sip on that whilst you bake. To begin preparing a Newcastle tart, for the tart's base, in a food processor or by hand, first combine flour, sugar and a pinch of salt, incorporating cold diced butter, followed by an egg yolk, before incorporating a few tablespoons of water in order to bind the ingredients for the early beginnings of your dough. With that done, continue by turning the contents out onto your work surface to knead gently and bring the dough together, following on by rolling the dough out upon a well-floured surface until large enough to cover your tart pan, taking your time thereafter to tuck the sheet into your pan and then trim away any excesses before resting in your fridge for at least an hour or preferably overnight, using the time while you wait to relax and rehydrate with Brilliantly British content in hand, making sure, of course, to help us out by liking and subscribing. Thank you. In my case, on the following day with my oven preheating, to prepare for baking, prick the base and sides in order to allow steam to escape, line with baking paper, weighed down with baking beans or rice before baking blind at first, followed by a second stint in the oven uncovered. To prepare the filling, with the tart case made, with your oven preheating, slice off the ends of your oranges, coarsely chop your fruit before blending with an egg and a pinch of salt at first, blending the contents thoroughly until completely smooth or until your preferred consistency has been achieved, at which point muscavado sugar should be incorporated with vanilla paste in order to obtain your fragrant orange flavoured Newcastle tart filling. With the filling made, waste little time recalling your tart case, into which your filling should be poured out before carefully relocating to your oven to bake perfectly, leaving you once again with an opportunity to relax and rehydrate and like this video if you haven't done so already. Thank you. Once ready, the filling will have set with a plain caramel brown appearance, which once allowed to cool completely can be optionally embellished with a dusting of icing sugar. And so now, with a zesty Newcastle tart made and your interest peaking, I think it's high time for tasting, tasting, tasting. Are you ready? Are you steady? 3, 2, 1. Oh, yes. Amazing. tea just makes everything better. Flavors of this tart are very familiar, and predominantly that's because this tart has a lot of muscavado sugar in it, an ingredient that is a key component of its cousin, the Liverpool tart. But with that being said, this tart amazingly gives off the aroma, the fragrance. It tastes as if it's been spiced with nutmeg, with allspice, with clove. And yet we both know, having seen how this tart has been prepared, has been made, has been baked, that oranges, vanilla, muscovado sugar and a pinch of salt and some eggs are the only things that go into the making of it. And yet so much flavor, the result is outstanding. It's amazing, and it's still lingering in my mouth. It's beautiful. In contrast to something like a Liverpool tart, which leans more in the direction of being refreshing, this is more warm in terms of its flavor, its taste profile. That's not to say one is better than the other, although I'll leave that up to you. And so, given that this tart is so easy to prepare and so wonderful to enjoy, please, you have no reason not to go out to get the ingredients and make this Newcastle tart. So please, please, please make this Newcastle tart, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you all for allowing me to show you how to make a Newcastle tart. Knowing that you loved this episode, don't forget to click on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button so that you don't miss any of our new releases. Tell everyone, and I mean everyone, that you know about the brilliantly British food on this channel, and follow us on all of the social media platforms that this channel is on, and I will see you